you've never had a warm, freshly baked sourdough straight from the oven, then you truly haven't lived. The crackling crust, the aroma of toasted wheat and fermentation filling the kitchen. That first slice tearing open to reveal a soft, airy crumb still steaming inside. A little salted butter melts instantly in every pocket, and suddenly you understand why humans have been baking bread for thousands of years.
Guys, today we're making a beautiful sourdough bread. Who doesn't love a delicious, crispy, healthy sourdough bread? Definitely the healthiest bread you can eat in the world. Great for gut health. It's got probiotics in it, lactobacillus to be precise. And you know, it's great because you're taking that sourdough starter, you're gonna take care of it like your kid, like your baby. It's your life force. It's the live bacteria that you're gonna use and feed every single day. And that's gonna be your fermentation. That's gonna be your natural yeast that's gonna leaven your bread. I'm gonna show you how to make a delicious sourdough today, guys, the right way. I'm excited. Let's go.
All right, guys, first thing we need to do is feed our starter. Go ahead and take 100 grams of our starter, 100 milliliters of water, 30 grams of a rye flour, and then 100 grams of bread flour. Make sure these are organic. That is huge. Go ahead and stir it around with a chopstick, and then I just put the lid loosely on. Take a rubber band, and just so we have a starting point of where our starter is, and then we want to let it double or triple in size before we're ready to make our bread.
All right, guys, so you know your starter's ready when it's at least doubled or tripled in size. You can tell here it's a nice, healthy starter. I fed it this morning before I went to the gym, and that's why I put this rubber band here so you can see when it's at least doubled in size. Definitely make sure that you're putting it in some water and making sure that it floats, and that way you make sure that you have enough carbon dioxide in your starter. That's what's gonna be the nice leavening agent that you need for your bread. Go ahead and feed it, and it should double or triple in size within, I'd say, 2 to 4 hours. If it doesn't, then you need to just keep feeding it until it's nice and healthy and it's a ripe starter. So let's make some bread.
Make sure before any recipe, you want to have all your ingredients together and in their place, a thing we call mise en place. Go ahead and start out with 200 grams of your starter and put that in a bowl. Make sure you feed your starter. Add 700 milliliters of water, and then just go ahead and mix this around with your hands. You want to make sure that you really get in there, get that natural yeast from your hands working in with that water and that starter. And then we'll go ahead and add in our flours.
So my starter is 100% hydration, which means it's 100% flour and 100% water. So really you're adding another 100 grams of flour to this and another 100 grams of water. So that makes it, let me do the math in my head, that makes it about a 78% hydration.
You want to just go ahead and keep mixing this around until it's a nice shaggy mess. Just make sure you really get your hands in there and work that dough.
All right, so now what we want to do is just rest this for about 30 to 40 minutes. It's gonna let the protein and the starches in the flour absorb that water, which is very important, so you do not want to skip this step. Go ahead and cover this with a towel and just let it rest for 40 minutes. We'll come back and I'll show you the next step.
All right, once you've let it rest, we'll go ahead and take our 20 grams of kosher salt and 50 milliliters of water. I like to just pour this over the salt just to dissolve it just a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and squeeze that salt and that water in with our dough, and then we'll start our bulk fermentation.
All right, so we're gonna do our first stretch and fold. So I just like to dip my hand in a little bit of warm water just to prevent it from sticking. And you wanna just go in the side of the bowl, pick up your dough, and you're gonna just fold it to the opposite corner and just press it down. You're gonna do this 4 times in all 4 corners. Little wet on the hand, get in there, pull up your dough. This is gonna really help to develop those gluten strands that we're looking for, but without overworking our dough. A lot of other bread recipes, you probably notice that you put it in a mixer and just let it go to really develop that gluten. That's not what we're trying to do with this dough. You always wanna maintain a warm temperature, making sure that the water that you're sticking your hands in to do your stretch and folds is nice and warm, because you do not wanna cool down this dough. You want this dough to stay at about, I'd say, between 78 and 83 degrees. Get yourself a nice thermometer, and then always temp your dough. So I'm just about 80 degrees, which is nice. So go ahead and plop the lid on. That's our first stretch and fold. And then we'll come back in 30 minutes and we'll go ahead and do the next one. All right, so we're ready for our second stretch and fold. Warm water, and same thing we did before. Just go ahead and reach down, pull our guy up, fold it over. Move to the other side, grab, and fold. And making sure that you're temping your dough. Mine is sitting at about 79 degrees. And if it gets a little bit colder than that, you wanna make sure that you're putting it in a warm place in your kitchen. This is very sensitive. So that's our second stretch and fold. Go ahead and pop the lid back on.
So I like to put a mark on the container at our starting point where our dough is. That way we know when it goes up to at least doubled in size, then we are ready to bake our bread. All right, so 30 minutes later, we're gonna do our third stretch and fold. Same process as before. Make sure your water is warm. Just go ahead and stretch that up. As you can see, it's starting to develop that nice gluten that we're looking for. It's really starting to come together, starting to puff up a little bit, starting to aerate. That fermentation's really doing its thing.
We should have about one more. We'll check it after that, see if we need to ferment it a little bit longer. All right, so we're gonna go in with our final stretch and fold. This will be the fourth one. I might do one more, but after that, I'm just gonna leave it and then let it ferment until it's at least doubled in size. So probably right about here, and then you're ready to go. Okay guys, so as you can see in here, it's almost doubled in size. I actually put the line up a little bit higher than where it started. It actually started a little bit under here. So we're pretty much doubled in size. You want it to be at least 50 to 100% bigger. So I don't want to ferment and over ferment this too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here.
Next, you want to just go ahead and take your dough and lay it out on your counter. This will be the bench rest.
Put a little bit of flour. You're not trying to add too much flour to this because you don't want to change the chemistry of the dough that you've already made.
All right, once you divide the dough in half, you want to just go ahead and shape these into 2 separate loaves, and then we'll just go ahead and cover these and then let these rest for at least 30 minutes before we do the final shaping.
That's exactly what you want.
All right, so once these have rested, we'll go ahead and take the towels off. Those beautiful doughs. We want to just go ahead and dust them with a little bit of flour. You're not trying to add too much more flour to these. All right, then we'll go ahead and flip this over, and then we're gonna start shaping our dough. Take the back end closest to you and move it towards the middle. We'll take the right side and just push it all the way over to the left, and then the left over to the right. We'll take the top of the dough and just pull it all the way down towards you and press. And then we're gonna go ahead and flip that completely over so that the seam is on the bottom side. And our dough has been shaped.
So there we have our first dough. This is the presentation side. We want this side on the bottom because obviously we're gonna flip it out.
All right, so one more time, take the edge closest to you and just fold that over towards the middle, and then take the right side over to the left, and then the left over to the right, and then the top down towards you all the way. Go ahead and press that in, and then we'll go ahead and flip that seam over so it's on the bottom, and we'll go ahead and fill up our bannetons. Make sure your seam is facing up when you place your dough in the bread basket.
I'm gonna sprinkle just a little extra rice flour just over the top. Now we're gonna let these proof overnight in our fridge for at least 12 to 18 hours, and then we'll go ahead and bake them off tomorrow.
All right, guys, I'm so excited. The next day is here. Go ahead and unveil your beautiful bread. We'll flip this over on some parchment sheets. Go ahead and make sure that your oven is preheating at 550 degrees with your Dutch oven inside. I like to let my dough sit at room temp for at least an hour after I take it out of the fridge.
All right, now just one smooth, aggressive score. You just wanna go across the top. And then, let's see, this one, I think we're just gonna go, I'm gonna do like a little square. That's it, leave it alone. All right, now very carefully, I have it set at 550. I'm gonna drop it down to 500 right before we put our bread in. So we'll just take the lids off. Plop this guy in here. All right, we'll go ahead and pop these in. This will help trap the steam. And then drop this to 500.
All right, once you dropped your oven to 500, we'll go ahead and bake these with the lids on for at least 25 minutes. After that 25 minutes, we'll go ahead and take the lids off and then drop it to 450 degrees. And then we'll bake it for another 20 to 25 minutes. I like to go a little bit more on mine because I like it nice and caramelized.
Oh, let's check this one out. Oh, baby. Oh, look at that. All right, that looks pretty freaking good. Drop it down to 450. There it is, guys. Doesn't get much better than that. Could have got a little bit more ear right here, but I love that caramelization. Oh yeah, nice and hollow. Exactly what you want right there.
Guys, I want to thank you all for joining me. I hope you learned something today. I hope I made it a little bit easier for you and a little bit more approachable to make sourdough bread. Yes, it can be a little intimidating getting into this and doing it, but you're not going to know how to do it until you actually just try. I have had many experiences and many loaves that just didn't turn out right. Making sure that it's really warm is very important when you're making sourdough bread. Keeping the dough warm during the bulk fermentation, keeping your starter warm when you want to bake bread, making sure that you're feeding it enough, making sure that it's ripe and it's ready to go. All these little tricks matter when you're making bread. That's why it's such a high priced bread, and it's one of the best out there, because not only is it good for you, it's good for your gut, it's super healthy, and it's just overall a great experience to do. When you actually make your first successful loaf, it's so exciting, and I just can't wait to share it with you guys, and I can't wait for you to share it with me. I hope if you guys make a loaf, drop down in the comments and let me know how it turned out for you. Share this with a family member or friend that wants to make some sourdough or you think would like this video, and get out there and make some bread. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you guys again on the next video.